Welcome to another episode of DIOTALK. I'm Dio. Let's talk. Today I have an incredible guest. Give a warm welcome to Crusty Canuck, the host of Crusty Canuck Podcast. Welcome to the show, bro. How you doing?
Not too bad, Dio. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm tired. Had a long work day. But,
yes.
Right.
Working man.
Yeah. That's paycheck's nice.
Yes. Shit. I wish I had that right now. I hear you.
Well,
So let's just. I want to get back into what we before we start recording. We was having a conversation, about fucking common sense, right? And just based off, the unfortunate issues you're going through right now in Canada, right? Because you're a patriot, and thank you for your service. Although I'm not Canadian, but yet I understand, all the sacrifice you had to endure for your country.
well, I serve with Americans too, so there's a brotherhood.
Boom! There you go.
There's a brotherhood there you can't dismiss. Regardless of how the political fences are between both of our countries, we can say historically that we're both classically liberal, not in the liberal sense of the poison word now, but the classical liberal sense where, hey, Dio, you do your thing, I do my thing. Let's have a barbecue later, or let's have a beer later. Let's watch some American football. Let's watch some Canadian football.
And it's essentially how it should be.
Yeah, it don't matter. And what really annoys me too is when I'm looking at a lot of the mainstream media. Now I look at mainstream media and I look at independent media. I'm actually having a newfound respect, ironically enough, for the Fox channel, Fox News. I never used to watch Fox News, but I kind of like Tucker Carlson and his tongue-in-cheek approach to things. And some of their programs are okay. I don't watch CNN. I haven't watched CNN since, I think, when George W. was president. I don't know what it is. It just, something doesn't feel right,
Yeah. Well, they ever since our former president Trump, right? Whether we like it or not, that was our president, right? He called them out saying it's fake news, and then as time has progressed, we've seen some things in the media that is like a small example, like what when Joe Rogan came out and said he was COVID positive, how they edited the video and how different they made it seem from reality, how it was. So, man, it's all ratings. It's like back in the day when newspapers was a thing, right? Before we entered this digital era. It's all about selling papers and whoever got the most views.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Who's the most papers gets the better paycheck. Who gets the most ratings gets the most advertising time, and gets the more lucrative deals as the night broadcaster, the day broadcaster. And it's funny how you mention that, because I was just thinking about my media studies I took back in high school and how we were told, okay, you can watch 3 channels at any given time. One situation happens, okay? And one or more of those stations are going to emphasize a little more drama, right? So, okay, here's a car accident, 13 people were killed. That's one station will say. And here's the same car accident, another station will say 15 people were killed. And the other station is going to say 17 people were killed. That alone should give you incentive to question that narrative. It sucks that there was a car accident, and it sucks that it causes so much devastation, but still question that narrative.
Yes.
And my time in service, my last time in Afghanistan, I started questioning that narrative quite a bit. It was great that we had the media backing us up for once, because the Canadian military was never given a fair deal when it came to the world stage. And not so much because of our NATO friends or our allies. It was more of a government thing. Okay. A lot of taxes Canadians pay, big time. And our military at one time didn't have a pot to piss in. So why are we boring American aircraft and British aircraft to go here, to go there? Yeah. And our training is good, but why we have to borrow things? So when you look at the media narrative back in the 90s, we used to call it decade of darkness, because there was a lot of shady stuff going on, and it wasn't the troops. A lot of it was the leadership and government too, for that matter. And money was going missing. Things were underfunded. Things were underrepresented. A few troops did some bad things. However, they didn't speak for the majority of service people at the time. So the media took that for a real whirlwind. Then when Afghanistan heated up and Canada was actually starting to see some action since the Korean War, oh, we better respect these men and women. Oh, we better do this. Ratings. So
You want to make it patriotic,
exactly. Make it look like a beautiful little picture. Yes. Because there's more to Canadian military than just peacekeeping. We're known for that. But when you become a police officer, you're taught first aid. You're not called a first aid provider. You're called a police officer, right? I trained to be a soldier. Yes, I was trained in peacekeeping, and I was trained in security and peace support operations, but I was also trained in war fighting too. So that's the thing. So it changed the narrative of the Canadian conscience when it came to, oh, well, we have a military. All the more reasons to look after it, So, and people used to compare us to the States all the time. So, well, that's kind of impossible because you got 37 million people in Canada compared to 330 million, I believe, in the United States. So if you want the same budget, a lot of people are going to go hungry if that was the same for dollar, right? Oh, a strong military, but why is half the city unemployed? You just can't do it with the numbers. But we can take responsibility to look after it as we should. There's no excuse for it as far as I'm concerned. So,
yeah, I totally agree. You think that, when it comes to the military, they train soldiers like yourself to kill, and they don't have expectancy of them to return, and it's like they see it as whatever, right? For the lack of trying to,
collateral damage.
Yeah. Like it's just like
expendable.
Right, yeah. And they
you could look at that.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of people, right, that are veterans that serve their countries. And, and this is my opinion. I totally could be wrong. I don't know the full extent of it, right? I've never served my country, but I this is what I see. I see these men and women that are trained to be assassins, to, get the job done so that our country could win and whatever, right? But when they come back, it's like there's no like de-escalating them. There's no assistance.
Yeah,
and
I
they
know what you mean. Yeah.
And they say they are. They say they are. But are they really? Or you just
it varies.
Yeah.
From my experience, like I do have PTSD, and it did end my career because I signed for 25 years and they ended 20 because of the issues. Now in 2014, I wanted to say, sayonara, that's it, I'm done. I'm checking out. Because I used to bench a lot of weight. I played a lot of soccer. I played lacrosse, a lot of ice hockey.
Active, yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't be Canadian if you like skate around just a little bit,
yes,
training.
Yes.
Oh yeah, score a lot of goals, eh? Oh yeah. to throw a little stereotype in there. But I was active. I was coaching soccer and I was coaching lacrosse too. So, and I was taking a bit of martial arts. So I was keeping fit. I wasn't a machine, but I could go run 5K and feel good. I could do my battle fitness test and feel good. Still sore because I was getting older, but things were falling into place. The best analogy I can say, you have a shelf, right? Everything's balanced. The shelf began to tilt. Things started to fall. My marriage wasn't working out. I was drinking more. Before I got married, pardon my expression, I was quite the man whore. So I was playing the field, I met my wife. Okay, yeah, things are all right. Okay, I love her. She's great. She's fantastic. But I wasn't feeling it in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a religious man, but my soul wasn't together. So my classes were going to shit. I was forgetting things. I was just not focusing. My enthusiasm went from 100% down to like 85, 75. My weight was gaining. I was getting bigger. Drink and drink and drink and drink. There were weekends I get a bottle of rye and then a case of beer, and it'd be gone by Saturday night. And then Saturday or Sunday, drink some more. But then Monday, okay, done. And I just
regular routine.
Exactly. And my wife would say, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, I'm fine." The old suck it up adage, right? This personal support that we had in my area They were good, but they weren't so good because they wanted to get you back into that teaching format again. And I didn't mind teaching. It's just my confidence went to shit. My self-respect went to shit. And my idea of life went to shit. So how can I honestly teach troops the pros and cons of being a Canadian soldier? How can I teach them when to firefight? How can I teach them to do the best that they can with what they got when I felt I had nothing? And it was just going down, down, down. And around February 2014, I was in that place. I call it the dark place. And I just wanted to check out. I thought of ways of hanging myself. I thought of ways to shoot myself, poisoning myself without making a mess. And my saving factor was my wife did some errands that day. And when she came home, kind of snapped me out of it. That following Monday, I went and talked to somebody. And that's when the process was starting to change. But that's where the personal support workers were starting to intervene. I recommend any of your listeners or viewers out there, if you do feel that way, if there's any kind of hint of you feeling the way I just described, from my own personal experience, I'm not going to say lived experience, because I find when people say lived experience, it's like you don't need that adjective.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like what you have a dead experience. What
did you die and come back?
Like I was born again. Like it doesn't work that way. It's an experience. And I didn't want to dwell on it about 2 years ago. Now I'm more than happy to talk about it with people. Mm-hmm. If any one of your listeners or viewers feel this way, please talk to somebody.
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't matter if it's a priest or a rabbi or your imam, your mother, your father, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your lover. Talk to somebody. Get it out. Because that's the best. That's the first step. Get it out of you. Because ironically enough, it is like a monkey on your back, and it will weigh you down. And that monkey turns into a vampire and sucks the absolute life out of you. Like I say, I played soccer, lacrosse. I was scoring goals in hockey. I had a great time drinking, smoking, fucking and chucking, being a man whore. And then I met my wife. Okay. And then all of a sudden,
deteriorated.
It was just 1 minute I'm feeling great. Next minute, I'm just like, you just hear that hum.
Yeah. And it's crazy. You were doing so much activities, and we're like, it was keeping, it was just keeping you busy. It wasn't healing the problem or assisting you, just keeping busy. For as long as your mind stayed busy, you
denial. I was denying it. Yeah. I was denying it. It's like when you lose a loved one, the 4 stages. You deny it, then you're angry, then the grief. Mm-hmm. The grief I was having was, I'm worthless. I'm not worth this. That's the way I was looking at myself. I'm a piece of shit. I can't do this anymore. What's wrong with you? My God, you're a sergeant now. What's wrong with you? You failed. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? Constantly beat myself up. And there is still that stigma with some individuals. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to speak light of some of my fellow service people, but I did have some leadership that were in the circle that just kind of dismissed it. I had a couple of great people that stepped up and gave me a hand. And I'm grateful for that too. And when the word got out that, oh shit, Sarge is, holy fuck, what's wrong with him? People started saying, hey, you want someone to talk to? Let me know. You get that, right? Because we're so formatted to walk the line, to do this, to do that. And I had nothing wrong with that, because that's the way I was trained from the time I was recruit till I got my sergeants. So I was like, okay. But when you have that mentality where you suck it up.
Yeah, it's also like but also like it's like a man thing, I don't know about you, but just growing up where if we talk about our feelings, they start looking at us different,
I've had a bit of that too,
right? Yeah. And it's like that's why we're constantly, throughout history, we're constantly judged. Mm-hmm. and criticized for our actions and whatever, and then you go like you grow older and you get older and time passes, and the more time passes, it becomes difficult to talk.
Yeah, because you're taught to suck it up.
Yeah.
Right. And how much more do you have to suck up? Like, we're like sponges. People forget that the brain is like a sponge. It can only absorb so much that it has to wring out. You eventually have to wring out the sponge and rinse it and wash it again to save it for another day to clean up another mess.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Can't just keep buying sponges over time. That's the best analogy I can think of at the moment.
No, and it's a great one. Everybody can understand that analogy. And I think that's a common thing in men, mental health. I think we don't have more of that, right? Like, it's different. I've, been in, I'm not going to say who, but I'll say this, females, when you try to talk to females, they look at you sometimes as shut up bitches. Not every woman is supportive.
You
right?
Nailed it on the head.
Right?
I can validate that for you. Yes.
And
yes. My wife's an exception though. My wife,
yeah.
she's been, but I can verify that's, you nailed that.
Because and you go and you cry your heart out, and they look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. Oh, what's wrong? Yeah, exactly.
I grew up with some trauma. Well, I say some others say a lot. And, every time I noticed that every time I would sit with somebody and talk to them about my childhood, I saw it as that's just a normal day. When I looked at them, those, jaw dropping and shocked. And I was like, I got to stop talking about this. It makes people feel uncomfortable. And then I had my son and I got married, and things just started escalating. Things that I had just brushed off, like you said, just at one point it just started, just coming through my pores. And I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I got the help. Then I had an event, and I found Jujitsu. It's helped me because I feel like all my life I've been such angry. I had my reasons why, but because you've been so majority of your life angry, you just don't know why you're angry anymore, right?
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Why am I pissed?
Right? So through jiu-jitsu, it's a very physical, and it's like playing chess with your body. And I it took me a year, and I'm going to make a year that actually broke me, in a sense that, like, when I roll with somebody, I'm not angry. I'm literally just trying to survive and not hurt the other person. And which is the fundamental jiu-jitsu. That's what it is. You're trying to de-escalate a situation rather hurt somebody.
That's a tool.
Right. And I came to that moment, but then, like, I started now feeling sad. Right. And every time I sat down to take a shit, I started sobbing for no fucking reason. Every time I got in the car for myself, I started fucking sobbing for no fucking reason. Every time I was putting my son to sleep, I started crying for no fucking reason. This anger that I've built up for fucking, 30 something years, now it's gone. And I'm like, I felt like I had this hole of emptiness. Like, there was full of anger. Now it's just nothing. It's an empty hole. And, like, it's, it's easy to get angry.
Oh God, yes.
Right. Like growing up, for me, anger was key to survival. But, like, I'm not surviving. I'm not surviving, and I'm not in a war. I'm not being chased by guns or people trying to jump me. I'm a dad. I'm a full-blown dad. My son's autistic. I'm his full-time health provider, taker for the last 2 years. I'm not at war no more. Nobody's trying to kill me. Right? Nobody's talking down on me. Nobody's neglecting me. Nobody. So, like, now it's all right. I realized that. I accepted that sadness. Now I got to find my way to build myself up.
And it's working. Because I saw how your face lit up when you're talking about your boy.
Yeah.
So you're seeing the light. And what I find sometimes condescending from some people, oh, just let it go. Like there's truth to that.
Yeah.
But it's when you let it go.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like when you're ordered to get into shape, it doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a minimum of about 3 months, depending on what you eat and how your metabolism works and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I made this standard.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Okay, you need 3 months to condition your body. You might need 3 years to condition your head.
Yes.
It varies. It varies. Like
and
you fall off the swing set.
And constantly adjustment. Like I have all the time a disagreement with my wife, and like she's like, we gotta make a plan. It's like, yeah, we can follow the plan to the T, but there's always things that get in the way.
Life.
So exactly. You don't
Life
go,
gets in the way.
Yeah, you don't go and redirect the plan. You readjust.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And you adjust accordingly. Adjust your ability.
And just like when you're a soldier, when you're in battle, you try to make this plan A to B, but things are going to get in the way. So you got to constantly readjust keep in mind always the same goal.
Yeah, I would agree with that big time. Yeah, because like here's the objective. Okay, we have a mission. We got to hit 40K. We got to do it this way. We got to see this and see that. Okay, actions on if this happens. Actions on if that happens. And, a second plan. Yes. I carried a radio in my tour, so I was the signal or a fucking target, just like an officer. But the officer and I would go back and forth on what we were going to do if this happened, a contingency plan, right? And we pulled through it. We pulled through it. It was man, it was an adventure. Fucking, it was great. But those situations, they accumulate too. They stick in the back of your head. Mm-hmm. And that's where they just kind of linger, Cue the 3D music, But it's there, and it sits here, it sits there, I could be sitting having a coffee with my wife, watching a really bad TV show, and it pops up. Hello, hello, how are you? Good to see you.
A thought that you haven't thought of in like 20 years, and just out of nowhere.
Remember the first time you fired your rifle and you actually hit that guy? Ooh. What did that make you feel? Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Cue the 3D music, right? Yeah. But I can laugh at it now. It still shakes me. But I can laugh along with it now because I own that. I did that. It was my job. I called in this. I called in that. It was my job. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that, when you hear the lefties talk about, oh, you're following orders, just doing your job, you're a murderer. Well, I stood for something. I stood for this, right? Home and native land. And I stood alongside American brothers, Australian brothers, New Zealand brothers, British brothers, Afghan brothers and sisters too. And we fought the good fight, like the Triumph song. We fought the good fight. And that's how I remember it. Mm. Regardless of the chaos, regardless of the carnage, the smells I don't forget. To this day, when I hear a car door slam too hard, I still kind of flinch. But it doesn't make me sit in a corner like the Hollywood like to say, or Hollywood likes to display. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And this past 2 years has been tough on both of our countries too, with ridiculous mandates and regulations, and no wonder people have had a hard time. No wonder people are getting antsy. No wonder there's protests going on, because people are pissed, and I don't blame them at all.
Yeah, they're like we become teenagers again when our parents are telling us to stay home, and where our freedom is slowly being stripped away. Just like you're in your country right now. It's we don't know what to do.
Well, that's the thing, because I'm a firm believer in protesting when you want to protest.
Yeah.
The moment it turns violent, okay, let's say if the authorities who are blocking you, they start swinging their batons in riot gear and throwing pepper spray and then firing rubber bullets, or those little sandbag bullets you've seen in some SWAT teams or CERT teams. Up here, we don't call them SWAT. They're called usually ERTs. Or special response to ERTs or SRTs, special response teams.
Got it.
Right? So it's the same thing, like special weapons and tactics and what have you. When those start flying around, the authorities or who's controlling the authorities is scared. kind of like how Prime Minister Trudeau prematurely brought in the Emergency Measures Act to stop the truckers. Yet he didn't bring any kind of Measures Act in when the supporters of the Wet'suwet'en tribal councils, or the hereditary chiefs they're called, when they were protesting against the LNG pipeline in northern BC. These are people that were setting fire to railway tracks and blocking railway tracks, bringing debris on railway tracks, blocking the traffic of railway cars. So, and they have every right to protest by all means, right? But they caused more damage, more damage economically.
Yeah, they did more harm than good.
Exactly. And the trucker protest in Ottawa, it was a big party. Some people were upset because the honking of the horns, oh my goodness, and people were inconvenienced. I get that. I understand that. A noise ordinance, whatever. Okay, here's a ticket for being noisy, whatever. But the way the federal government looked at that, they treated it like, oh my God, an abomination. How dare you defy us?
They just, we gave them a reason, right? Here's the way I think about it. Like, everything's like chess, right? So it's cause and effect. We're gonna do something so that the effect will be essentially the people getting rowdy, right? So that once the people get rowdy, you're gonna force me now to make a decision all along I wanted to make, right? And because the people are we have become so predictable. Like, at some point we also got to take response for ourselves, because if you're trying to lift the community, you don't, because you're pissed, it doesn't give you the right to go and now burn all the small businesses, because right now they get burned out, they get in debt, they foreclosure, and guess who buys them?
Yeah,
they're not going to give the opportunity to you who's trying to make something for yourself. Right now the foreclosure is burned down, they're going to give it to the higher bidder, the one who pays the most. So essentially you're fucking yourself over, right? And you're giving them you're giving them the reason to make all the decision for us. You're making this,
you destroy property, of course.
You're making it seem as where, yet again, we're adolescents, we're kids again, and our parents are punishing us. If we don't find a better route, a better way to say what we're trying to, say and do and make it clear, we're going to lose our freedom indefinitely.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact too, the volume, because when I look at the truckers convoy, okay, they didn't smash any windows, they didn't damage any property, they didn't destroy railway tracks, and our leadership did not come out and talk or negotiate with any of these individuals. And that was, that's what struck me odd too, quite a bit, because as much as I loathe the liberal brand in this country, because they're not the liberals I grew up with, or let's say what you grew up with too. I can say that the Democrats now are definitely not the Democrats I remember back in the 80s or the 90s, because it's all of a sudden they did a total 180, right? Democrats are promoting the whole universal income, the whole socialist idea. And Eastern Europe proved it wrong back in the early 90s that, okay, some parts of socialism are all right, like medical care, fine, because Canadians pay a lot of taxes into our medical system. It's not perfect, but if I was working on my roof, I fell off a ladder and busted my leg, okay, the ambulance is just going to come and pick me up anyway. They're not going to give me a bill, $120 to take you to the hospital. It's like, well, I can't pay it right now because I'm in agony.
Yeah.
So that's a good aspect of it too. But in order to keep these programs alive, you have to let people work to make money to pay into it, and let people have their businesses so they can make money and pay into it, which is fine. I don't mind paying taxes, even though taxation is theft as far as I'm concerned. But whether it's provincial or municipal or federal, or in your case, like say the state or the municipality, sometimes it's ridiculous the amount of taxes people have to pay, right?
Yeah.
But when I look at these individuals who had to go to work, especially these truck drivers, being told, okay, you have to get a third shot and you will like it. It's like, well, no, because we met the quota of the 70%. We're not going to condemn anybody who has it or who doesn't have it. And you're still making more rules, making our job harder. We've got timings to meet. We've got things to do when we get to work. And you're telling us we have to get another shot. Well, no, F that. We're not doing this. And they made a point. And it inspired a movement in the States now, too. It inspired a movement in Europe. I think even down in Brazil, they had a little convoy going on as well. So it inspired people and it was peaceful. The only thing that ruined it, as far as I'm concerned, is the federal government, when they refused to talk to these individuals.
Yeah.
And it was a slap in the face. It's like, really? And now he's all hot and bothered about Ukraine, talking about we have to protect democracy. How about Canadian democracy? How about American democracy? What's Joe doing? Right? Inflation has affected both of our countries in gasoline and groceries, in our rents, in our mortgages. Holy shit, $800,000 is the minimal now you have to pay for a small house. When I was a kid, $800,000 home was a bloody mansion. Yes. Now it's like a bungalow with maybe an acre of land if you're lucky. What gives?
I think it's just the whole fucking conspiracy massive plan. The world's overpopulated. They fucking threw a nuke in where it's COVID affecting everybody. The numbers still don't go down. All right, let's go to fucking war. Now let's go take off.
Pre-planned.
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's go take off America or Canada. Let's get into war. We're now Russia, World War III, right? Mm-hmm. Send a bunch of motherfuckers over there, right? Yeah. Now the population goes down, and until they get to a set number and everything's, it's fine and dandy, right? Okay, then we'll stop.
Okay, we'll start an armistice now, and you'll take this part of Europe. We'll take North America. We'll take this.
And there's a balance.
Exactly. No more of this division. We'll put this here, that there, these identities over here, that identity over there. And Klaus Schwab says you'll own nothing and be happy. Right?
We'll wait until the next 20 years or so to see if this happens again. We go, get overpopulated again. We have to do the same shit.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's a pretty good theory. I like that theory.
I mean, but it's like you gotta listen. I'm not a left. I'm not a right. I'm not a. I don't know shit about politics. We initially started the conversation all about common sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're always complaining. We're always fucking populated. Yeah. There's not enough food and this and that. I mean, why we're not destroying little increments? We're doing it by massive and massive and massive.
It's a mob mentality that's doing that too. My wife and I, we try to grow food every year. Last year, a little difficult because neighborhood cats ruined my potato crop. Little bastards. Digging in my potato patch, doing their thing. So I dig up all my potatoes, and the only thing I can smell is cat piss. I'm like, oh, really?
Yep.
Thanks.
They don't eat it. The rats do the same. When they don't eat something, they piss on it. Nobody eats it.
Yeah, I know. We got no rats out here, luckily, knock on wood. There's no rats in my area. We do have vermin, a lot of coyotes, the odd raccoon, but they're harmless. The coyotes I worry about because I work with cattle. So my concern is keeping the coyotes away because, they'll bite a calf and that calf can be a prized calf. That calf dies and then the coyotes have at it. And then you get a calf carcass and you're like, oh, shit. Pardon my friend.
Yeah.
They become vermin, right? So
which is normal things when you're in this type of industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I tell my bosses, there's coyotes here and all that. And I've offered to hunt them. I am a gun owner, so I wouldn't mind going out, taking the guns out for a little treat.
Get stretched.
Yeah. Get the skills up a bit, So I am part of a range in this area. So I just haven't had time to go shoot. Because between my job and then when I'm off, I do my podcast and I do my research for my episodes and what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. Let's get into that. I wanted to ask you what inspired you? Because I've heard, not fully, but I heard a couple of episodes, roughly. Like, what inspired you to start the podcast? Because it has a lot of topics, but yet important topics, right? That has fundamental beliefs and I like the way you try to break it down and talk about it. And honestly, it's I enjoy it because there's topics that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
But there's then topics that you have to talk about it and you refuse not to.
Well, that's the thing. Like I say, 20 years in the Army, we were ordered basically, we can't have any political side. And I'm sure it's the same thing with the American service, British services all around. And you can sit with a bunch of guys in your section or what you guys call a squad and just shoot the shit, whatever. Even some officers get in the conversation, fine. But you cannot physically display your loyalty to one party in Canada when you're a member of the military. Like you can't make it public, right? It's a little more lenient now. A few more guys are coming out saying it, speaking their mind. But it's because of a lot of the political wheelings and dealings and our best guesstimations, I guess our own hypothesis over the years. I was just cringing to say something because you would see such stupidity when it come to elected officials, when it came to deploying our soldiers or getting our soldiers kit or looking after what had to be looked after, i.e. like morale and welfare for some of our vets that wait in line for like 6 months at a time to get a piece of paper this big, which is it? So when I left in 2018, I always had an affection for talk radio. I love talk radio. It's great, because even when you're driving, when you're working, you listen to a couple of conversations, some decent topics.
Yeah, I mean, I miss that. I miss that growing up.
Like it's still out there. It's just when you turn on a lot of major radio stations now, you get the same old garbage. You don't get real talk. You get people talking at you because their editor or their producer says, you must say this. So state-sponsored bullshit. The CBC up here used to have some great talk radio on many moons ago. Now it's just garbage.
Yeah, everything it's at least over here is like everything. That's why when I started the podcast, I didn't want to make it a niche. Like I want to talk different peoples and learn different things and just culture. Everything now is very pop culture. They're at least over here, in my point of view, we're very divided. You're either black, white, or LGBT, community, Latinx, but we forgot to just be people.
Yeah.
So I get, I understand what you're saying when, talk radio and whatnot.
Well, that's the thing, because like where I grew up, there was no such thing as gender parity. There was no such thing as racial divide because I was raised in a household where you treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly.
You don't judge on color. You don't judge on language,
Yes.
And we're all guilty one way or the other of making fun of each other. That's the thing, I'm not going to go on my way to look at a black man and drop that word. I will not. I won't do it. Even he says, if I give you $1 million, I want you to call me that. No, no, I could use $1 million, but no.
And these, this is where you build valuable foundations with people,
Well, that's the thing.
Like, a friend that you met all your life, grew up with him. You're not going to talk to him the same way you talk to somebody you just met 5 minutes ago.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
But everybody seems to want to do that. Yeah.
It's like you have your group of friends. I have my group of friends. But let's say if I'm in New Jersey sometimes, say, hey, Dio, let's go for a coffee. Let's grab a beer. Talk some shop. And, let's say one of your friends comes in the bar. Hey, who's this guy? Hey, I'm Crusty Canuck. Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Just, trading commerce back and forth. Right. And, my father, he's an ex-firefighter. So he worked in a part of Toronto that was very, very diverse. And he'd see all shapes and colors every day, and it didn't matter. And it never came up. No one ever said this word or that word. It never came up. He was saturated in diversity as we see it.
Yeah, I think,
nothing ever came up. There was never a racial issue. The only thing that makes everything racial now, I would have to say, is the colleges, universities, and how the media likes to go with it.
Yeah. Views sell, the most view, paper sell. This is what, this is my argument I've had all my life with people, right? I grew up with my grandparents, in a small barrio where, I wasn't welcome. I was an alien, somebody else, this American kid, right? And although Puerto Rican, that's how they treated me, right? because I'm half Dominican. I was told to I needed to go hide because the like the immigrant police will come and take me, because growing that time there was a lot of Dominican people flooding to Puerto Rico for a better life. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have papers, you'll get deported. So I grew up a lot with that a lot, right? And it's one thing that, you know, me living, I learned is respect.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you know, I feel like we have lost major values. Everything's loyalty, everybody's being liked. You know, I remember telling my mom once, like, I'd rather be respected than liked. Right? Because when you respect me, you're gonna think twice to try and do something with me.
Yeah.
When you rather be liked, you know, you just putting on a smile and wait for me to turn my back and stab me, right?
I'm waiting for the thumbs up from TikTok and Facebook.
Exactly, right? And it's like whatever happened to respect, right? Yeah. I don't care, gay, straight, curvy, red, white, and blue. I care about respect. I care about boundaries. Respect. This is my square space. Respect my. What you do on the other side, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who you're dating. I don't go who you fucking. I don't even talk to. This is my square space. Now, when I feel like you're invading my space, there's a problem. Right?
You let them know. Yeah.
But here's the thing: there's no respect. People are trying to force themselves on you. They're trying to make you feel accepted. It's like, bro, you're making me uncomfortable. Set the fuck back. Right? How about respect? You know, respect is like you in a courtroom. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, due process.
Once I feel like you don't respect, bro, it's another motherfucker in the street. I gotta do the best to stay away from you. Not out of fear. I had a fear for myself, because you know me so much. I have to control now myself.
Yeah.
And I think people lack that understanding. All you have to do is be respectful and respect people's space. Right? And I'll do the same. This is why I don't know. The Bible says, respect thy neighbor.
Yeah. Well, that's like a golden rule for everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
but people like, I feel like that word doesn't exist. They want to be loyal to one another without knowing them.
They'll probably call that racist sometime soon too.
Yeah.
You know? They call freedom racist. Oh, selfish. The Canadian flag's racist now. That's some of our politicians talking about that garbage, you know? And it's odd. You know, it's how you're raised too. Like, not every parent is perfect. You know, not every parent can do it right. There's no such thing as a perfect manual, right? But when you teach your kids, when you teach young kids that you want something, you work for it. You know, you earn it.
I'm into that. Yes.
I'm a firm believer in merit, meaning that, okay, let's say 6 months from now, you do this format over and over again. All of a sudden, it's like, holy shit, Dio, you got like 1 million views. Wow. You merited, you know, because you put the work and time into it. My podcast is still tiny. I'm working on it, but you know, I've had a lot of fly-by-nighters say, "Oh, I'll get you this and I'll get you that, and for this price and that price." No, I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Good. If someone hears me and likes what I have to say, click like or download.
Yes, 100%.
Keep it simple.
Yes.
You know, common sense. As much as I would love to make my podcast a full-time commitment, and I would love it more than ever, you know, hint, hint, wink, wink, say no more, say no more. To your listeners and viewers out there, that's up to the viewer to decide.
Yes.
And if you, let's say, make 100,000 subscribers and I make 100,000 subscribers, well, hell, smack my ass, call me Judy. We're on to something, you know?
Yeah.
And I use that tidbit in the show once in a while too. So I just maybe put little fillers in there once in a while.
But I agree with you. You know, they'll sit there and dissect. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to like. You need to format it. You need to script it. No, I'm good.
Well, if we're working for a major network, sure, great, because that's all done for you. Here, what's your storyboard? Okay, what do you want to say? Great, and we have people do that for you.
Yeah, that's great.
That's fantastic.
Give me the paperwork before so I can memorize it. You know, motivation.
And you're making $5,000 a show.
Oh yeah,
fantastic. You know, I'm lucky making $100 a month through YouTube.
Shit.
And
I'm making $15, and I think I still haven't reached it on Anchor. They keep fucking me over. Like, but do what you love. And what when you're doing what you love, you're not working. You're just doing what you love.
Yeah.
But you have to cheat where you do, where you're doing that you love as a job, because you don't want to oversaturate it. You don't want to overdo it.
Well, that's the thing. You want to put your brand, you want to put your thing out there for the world to see. And we're all susceptible to judgment.
Yeah.
And like in your show and my show, we talk about it. If you like and hear what you see, please click like, subscribe, all that stuff. Give me a comment, get the machine going, right?
Yeah, 100%.
My kit is pretty simple. I've got your standard mic, and I've got a nice little soundboard that I invested in. And then I do little voice recordings through my cell phone, loaded up to sound effects and stuff too, just to keep people interested, because I've had some wonderful comments from viewers who have said, yeah, I like listening to your show when I'm welding, or when I'm farming, or when I'm doing this. I like listening to what you say. And that's great to me,
That's amazing.
And I get a few comments saying,
yeah.
Oh, you're anti-trans. Oh, you're anti this. How? What have I said that's put people in their place,
That means they're not listening.
Yeah, exactly. You look at the optics.
I love how people just like say shit that makes no sense sometimes.
Virtue. Look at me, I'm being a hero.
Yeah. Like, that makes no sense with a conversation. Just so they can feel heard, right? Yeah. And sense of value. Yeah.
I told a total stranger off. I feel wonderful.
I get some type of empowerment.
Yeah. Like the vampires just tell you about, monkeys on your back and they suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you let them, they will.
I listen, man. I went through this transition, right? Like, I always said, I just don't give a fuck, and realized that I did give a fuck. And I learned that I need to learn how to divide what I care about and what I don't care about.
Mm-hmm. And
then now, when I say I really don't give a fuck, I really mean it. I really mean it. I don't listen. I do this and I enjoy every minute of it. I got my wife is my first person that like will criticize me. If she'll criticize me, that means I'm doing a good job for some real reason, right? Other than her, I don't listen to anybody. I don't care, because I look at it as what have you done? What have you done lately? Right? Did you record yourself talking and post it? Did you edit it? Did you upload it? Did you, seek out people to come on the podcast? Did you do something? Like, whoever tells me, who tries to give me a comment, they stay quiet. Mm-hmm. Like, as much as my platform is not meant to be perfect, it's something that it grows with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's yours.
Yeah. You go and evolve and continue to evolve, and you get better. You're like fucking wine.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Like
my first episode.
Yeah.
I talked about that. I had this little microphone and the soundboard wasn't that great. So people were only hearing the left side. So, okay, I was new at it. But I talked about being yourself. Yes. And that's, I remember my first episode. And just, it's okay to be you. Because there was some people up here that were putting out flyers saying it's okay to be white. Because there was a lot of this diversity, BIPOC stuff going around. And I'm not disenfranchising it, but if I'm going to hire somebody, I hire someone based on their experience, not based on their color, their skin, or their gender.
Correct.
I don't believe in equity quotas. I believe in work quotas. Let's call it the old-fashioned way because it works.
Yes.
It worked for centuries. Why is it any different now? And I don't care if a person I hire is from Uganda or from Cuba or from Puerto Rico or from Taiwan or from down the road in Edmonton. Hey, you got the qualifications? Okay, you're hired, And then up here in Canada, we have a 3-month grace period to see where you're at, if you meet the standard. And if you pass the 3 months, then you're off your probation. And then, pardon my expression, the world's your fucking oyster.
Yeah. God damn it. Yeah.
And that's simple. And I worked in my teen years, I worked in a Chinese restaurant and I washed dishes and cleaned. And my employer at the time gave me an interesting story. He came from Hong Kong when Hong Kong was still free, knock on wood. Couldn't speak a word of English. He struggled, but he ended up building a resume for the work he did, learned English as he went along, and got his chef's papers. It took him about 5 years, but he did it. Met a nice girl from Chinatown, raised a family. And last I heard, he owns about 7 restaurants in the Greater Toronto area.
Boom. There you go.
So, and he gave me next to my father, he gave me an excellent work ethic. Says, I don't want to sound racist here, but I just remember his accent. Says, you try hard for me, I will rock and roll for you.
Boom. That's an awesome quote.
And he did. He showed me the finer points of slicing certain vegetables, the finer point of cooking, the finer point of being patient with every meal. And it was because of him I was actually thinking about getting into the culinary arts. So it was the man inspired me. That's the thing. And because I was raised in a household where you don't judge people on their color or their ethnicity, you treat people like people. It's because of a guy like that. I look at you as a man. I look at your neighbor as a man. I look at her as a woman. I don't care what your ethnicity is. I don't. It's important to understand and embrace your culture, yes. But let's be realistic here. What's North American culture? Both of our countries have freedom for now. Mm-hmm. We have shared histories. We have loyalty to the British monarchy. I personally don't care, honestly. I think the Queen's a lovely lady. She must be a wonderful human being, but I don't want her governing this country anymore or having any kind of say in things anymore.
Or influence, yeah.
We look at America, the greatest experiment. You kicked Britain's ass, but you still maintain a friendship. We almost had a revolution too, a couple times. The Upper Canada Rebellion in the 1830s, and then the Red River Rebellion in 1885, which was, it's still up in the air. Well, it's not up in the air. It's in the history books.
Yeah.
But it shows you the whole transition from colony to country to colony again, some colonialism. But I don't buy the whole speech about, it's colonial. No, it's not colonial. It's Canadian or it's American, right? And yeah, there's still homage to some of the old ways, but some of those old ways worked.
Yeah.
Right. And the basic principle, I think both of our democracies, especially up here, should be more bloody liberty. Liberty. Like I look at the American gun laws and they're fantastic. Common sense. Up here, it's a whole federal thing, right? You have to have a card in order to buy, and you have to have training in order to buy and purchase. So I follow the rules. So does every gun owner I know. I don't know anybody in my circle that I've worked with who owns guns, who's done something stupid with them, other than maybe drop it, but it was not loaded. It was locked and sealed. So that's the thing. So there's differences there. Mm-hmm. But when it comes, let's say, gun ownership in this country, yeah, I believe in a concealed carry. I believe in it. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it right now, but I believe in it. I believe in defending yourself. We have the right to defend ourselves in this country, but 9 times out of 10, you're still hauled to court to prove your case, which will still cost you anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 for representation, just to clear your name. So there's a problem there. We don't have castle laws here. Too bad though, because a lot of things could get done quicker. So sorry to take you off topic there.
No. Please. No, it's yeah. In New Jersey, it's like if you want to get your gun permit, like it's gonna take you forever. It's gonna take it's ironically, it's like the people that don't deserve it get it quicker. The people that do deserve it,
weird, eh?
It's like
that's so weird.
I know. I know definitely a lot of people that like they got it real quick, and like in my head, like, well, not in my head because I've told them like you don't deserve that shit. Get that shit back. You don't need nothing with that.
Because you knew the guy was a thug, right?
It's just, I think one of the things that like it's, in my opinion, right, it's killing, I don't know, life. It's they're trying to make everything simple. Like this,
simple or controlled
both.
For your pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, control, yes.
In the name of safety.
Yeah. Like there's, you know, everything is so like now, like, I don't know whether, but over here is like Uber. They got 20 million choices to at the disposal to eat something, right?
Yeah.
Rather than getting up and you know, go cook something.
Exactly.
They lost
I'd rather get up and cook something. I'd rather make my own goddamn sandwich.
Yeah, they you know, I understand maybe Friday or the weekend, you know, take a break. I get it. Excuse me. But everything's like so convenient. And I don't think everything should be so convenient. I think you have to put the work in. You have to put the work in.
We're all creatures of that convenience.
Yeah, we need to put the work in, you know, like you painting a whole fucking room, right? Just that. You don't know how much your mind will think.
Yeah.
Right? You got to use your fucking head. Use your noggin. Think.
Yeah.
And we're just refusing to use that.
Yeah, because we're told not to. We're told not to. Turn the boob tube, same thing. It doesn't even online here, you know, when you watch TikTok videos. Oh, look at me dance, shake my ass. Yeah, don't think about the fact, you know, like this girl's 17 years old and she wants validation. Yeah, okay, she's a good-looking girl, but it's like you're not going to get validation from me because one thing, you're 17. Secondly, you're going to command respect from a potential mate, and he or she is not going to give you the time of day. They're just going to look at you as an object. So it's great you're out there being brave, shaking your tush. But if I want that personally, I'll ask my wife.
Yeah. But what's crazy about that is that TikTok wasn't meant for that. TikTok was meant to like people that like are creating things, like more like a short version of tutorial, like YouTube, right? You go on YouTube and everything's how you do this.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And there's some legitimate videos out there that show you how to do things. That's great.
But I think once they came to fucking America, you know,
shake your ass.
Yeah, I mean,
it's owned by communist China too, eh? Cue the 3D music. CCP. Oh, America, you like this, eh? Okay, yeah, and you know, and it's good for some people too. My wife and I, we banter back and forth too.
Yeah,
and I refuse to download it. You know, I had some advisors say, "Oh, you make your podcast millions." Yeah, right.
For who?
Yeah, exactly. Not for me.
I had, it was crazy. I had this conversation with my wife, right? And like, yet again, this is me speculating. I could be wrong, but like, yet again, it's common sense, right? We live in an advanced society that everything's monetized. If you weren't one of the people, right, that were at the beginning of breaking point and monetizing everything, you're not making the same money as him. You're not, because that in the beginning nobody knew about it. And you got to capital. If you were smart, you got to capitalize on that. Now, fast forward to 5-6 years later, you can monetize everything. YouTube before 2021 COPPA came in and started changing regulations, whatnot. You can monetize like this and anything. Now you got you got at least minimum 500 subscribers, guidelines. You got all this shit controlling, right?
Yeah, mine was 1,000, I think, before I started. Like mine was about 1,000. So I would create my own. The BuyMeCoffee app I find fantastic. It's simple. I use Stripe and PayPal too. Fantastic either way. So I include those in my descriptions.
So now you're like, if you want to make money, go now join the buddy system they have or some shit like that. But you're creating content, but you're not creating content for you. You're creating content for them. And you're not going to get paid for it because it clearly shows you that.
Because they'll take 25 or 30% of every buck you get.
My problem, my sponsorship with Anchor, right? You're taking 30% of what I'm earning. And when you read the disclaimer, it's because the editing and whatnot. All right, so if it's like that, you should only take 10%. Because I don't use I created my own music, I created my own edits, everything I own.
Yeah.
I edit myself. All I do is upload it to distribute it. So your distribution, which further investigation, it's only on Apple Music and Spotify, legitimately. The other platforms are telling you, unless you have created an account with them, they're not distributing it for you.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody fucking listens to Google Podcasts.
Yeah, I've had adverts for that, and I just, all the red tape I had to sign up for that. It took me 20 minutes just to get through to them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck this.
Nobody.
Like,
no, that's what's good is it's untapped. Is it still an untapped market because everybody uses Google?
Yeah.
Right. So you just don't know how to figure it out. But your plays basically come from Apple Music or Spotify. And yeah, they'll tell you, oh, we're on 7 different platforms, right? And it took me going into that. They weren't distributing to those platforms because I had to physically make an account.
Yeah.
Right.
And check yourself. That's
exactly. So now is the only thing is if I was a person of a blue check mark on social media, right? A public figure.
A Democrat?
Yeah. If I were
liberal?
Yeah, if I was one of those people, then I'm able to have a voice and negotiate, like give me my money.
Yeah,
because
it's like high school, eh?
Yeah, but because I'm
the clique
still
who isn't. Yeah,
because I'm still not. I still haven't got to that level. This is what they're offering me.
So the best way, we just keep plugging on the way we're doing it, like this conversation right here. You know, I'm thinking, okay, next few weeks, I'd love to have you guest on my show too.
Let me know. I'll be honored.
I'll be damn right. You know,
let me honor.
Like
we'll plug it and let's do it. I'm down. I'm
exactly.
down. I'm down. 100%. I'm always trying to. I try to do guests, but I rarely don't. A lot of people don't take advantage of it.
I've noticed that too. I had a talk with Theo Fleury. You know who Theo Fleury is?
No.
He played hockey, professional hockey player.
Okay.
He played for the Calgary Flames. He was part of the Team Canada gold-winning team in 2002 in Salt Lake City.
Nice.
Tough as nails, great spirit. The guy went through hell growing up. He was molested by his coach in his junior year. And he overcame that. And I had a good talk with him. And he's a political junkie. He's from Manitoba, so he's really seen a lot. He's done a lot. You know, he's had a hell of an adventure. And him and I, we did a show together. We were bantering back and forth in regards to liberal policies and how Trudeau is such a putz. And he's really a great guy when it comes to that. And I tried to do a format every week. Like when I was unemployed, I was trying to do basically what we call the fastball. My friend Adam come up with the name fastball because we just throw, at each other. And I would do the Crusty Canuck Thursday fastball, which would be me interviewing somebody. And then Sunday, we'd have our Sunday fastball where we'd actually have a panel of people. And we had some great talks about policies, military affairs, American, Canadian, British, German, everything about democracy and just how some of the buffoonery we all see. Because the joy of being Canadian, too, is that we can sit up here and go, and not judge, but analyze and create a hypothesis, right? There is a certain Canadian arrogance that I've seen as of recent, that there's some, I hate using the word liberal, but the liberal brand now is basically this whole superiority. We're Canadians, we're peaceful, we're loving. Okay, yeah, we are peaceful, we are very loving, but we're seeing the brand turn into something very, very ugly, extremely ugly, elitist attitude, snootery. You can go back to your high school days and you can think about some of the people you wanted to talk to, hang out with, and just that snooty, you're
that rich, like if they're rich and
or that rich or that arrogance or that well-to-doers or naysayers because mommy and daddy will pay my way to college.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, the mama says I got a face for radio. It's just this whole upper.
Yeah.
The British call them twats, basically. Twats. Upper class twats. Twats, Python did a skit called Upper Class Twit of the Year. They call them twits, but, twats, twit, same thing. And you're seeing a lot of twits in politics, and you're seeing that arrogance, we're Canadians, we can do this. No, we don't. Not the majority of Canadians that I know, We try to be friendly, open, and understanding, and we have our points of view on politics,
Yes.
whether it be Canadian policies or American policies, that matter too. I personally think Mr. Biden's a pissant.
And man, I think I don't know. I don't know if we did if we hit or miss. I feel like every time I look at him, like he's going through like some type of like dementia.
Has a moment.
Yeah, and then the vice president is like it's like watching a comedy sketch show. She says something, then take it back. Like says something, take it back, and like
kind of like Mad TV.
Yeah, like here's the thing: when it comes to politics, people like I don't, because politics are all gonna lie to you. They're all gonna fucking lie. No matter what, they're all gonna lie to you, right?
Doesn't matter who has the holy grail. Someone's gonna bullshit you.
So I remember Killing Me Softly by Dave Chappelle. He says when he comes to pick politics, he reads between the lines, right? I do the same. I took that analogy and use it on myself, and that's how I pick whoever's, my opinion. I could be right or wrong. That's how I pick. I can't pick off of what they're trying to convince me of. At the end of the day, they're a seller at a dealer.
Yeah. What's their agenda? What are they peddling to you?
They're a lot of these fucking people is based on popularity. It's the people in back of them who, all right, I'm gonna get you elected, but I need this to be approved. I need that to be approved, right? And like it's either for their business, right? Because most of the people, corporation, you break it down.
Lobbyists too, yeah.
Right? That beneficial
here.
Yeah. A mutual benefit. You don't have to be a fucking scientist. You don't have to be an investigation. It's just really common sense, right? Now, one thing that TV shows and movies and news have showed us is like when it comes to you're trying to run for president, somebody's is trying to put money because they're not gonna take money out their ass and yes, okay, here's my whole campaign.
Yeah,
it's not because as a businessman, I don't even want to use my money. I use the bank's money.
Yeah,
right. So I read between the lines and hit or miss. But goddamn, this it's I don't know what the fuck I don't know what I'm looking at sometimes when I'm looking at the news and I'm hearing them speak. I just I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat because, like I say, I'm very, very libertarian based.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you want, just don't hit people, take their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Live and let live. I don't care if Bob and Steve are gay and they're married.
Mm-hmm.
Knock yourself out, boys. Have some fun. I don't want to watch it, but I don't care. I don't care if June and Ed down the road have a barbecue and invite us to their commitment ceremony. It doesn't faze me. What phases me is when you have elected officials trying to look after your welfare, and their welfare becomes their welfare, or your welfare becomes their welfare. Like I said earlier, taxation's theft, as far as I'm concerned. I don't mind minimal taxes to keep things going. But when you tax and tax and tax, when it comes to buying your property, then you get a house and you got to pay tax on that for the sake of having your house, and then tax for a pack of smokes, case of beer, gasoline. Don't get me going, gasoline too.
Yeah.
Fuck me, pardon my French, but still, wow. Oh, the war in Russia, that means shit to me.
It's control.
There's gas. There's gas in both of our countries that can keep this continent alive and well for a century, to say the least. A century, man.
Yeah.
But
you need, listen, I have a high belief. You need physical things to be in control. You need physical things. Everything is digital. The money's changing. The currency is changing. Yeah. But you can't hold a fucking Bitcoin in your hand. And if you have one, you can't bring it to the fucking store.
Yeah.
They don't have change for that shit. Everything's digital.
Yeah.
So if I go, there's a blackout, right? Fucking blackout. How are you accessible to that money?
Exactly.
Right. So right now they're doing a big thing in electrical cars, which it's cool. But yet again, you're selling the illusion of it's beneficial. But like if you got a warrant out, right? And you have one of these electrical cars that ain't control, they're taking your ass to the police.
Yeah.
Right? It's selling convenience. Everything is so smoke and mirrors.
Oh, you're helping the environment. No. They haven't driven in Canada in January.
Right?
You nailed it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
jog on. Yeah.
It's but it goes, it's, you have a choice. What do you want to believe? Mm-hmm. And what you want to believe? Are you going to choose to live by it, or are you going to make it crazy? Because you also can't go and become a conspiracy TV and let that shit just, you're going like Bigfoot. People live in Bigfoot, like lose their jobs and fucking leave their families, going hunting this motherfucker and never find them. Like, you don't want to go through that rabbit hole. So you have to accept the things you cannot change, right? And find in a way how to survive and have a balance. Mm-hmm. You can't go in full right. You can't go in full left. You have to find your own balance. And right now they're playing tug of war with everybody.
Yeah. And that's the balance we need, just to find your thing, to do your thing, pay your bills, go about your business, and enjoy your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best of your ability. And, simple rules. Don't hit people, take their stuff.
Yeah. And right now, everyone is trying to fight to see who's right. Mm-hmm. And everybody's wrong. Yeah. Because the goal is to understand. Mm-hmm. To understand, so that if me and you having a conversation and I don't agree with your point of view, but I understand. I'm, later on in the future, I might go through something and I remember the conversation that you were having, and it's happening to me. And I'm like, I get what he's saying now.
Yeah. And revelations.
Yeah.
Revelation, just, or an epiphany.
Yeah.
An epiphany. That's the word.
and we're not having none of that shit. We're not. And it's heartbreaking. Because
I think our conversation's pretty decent. I think we're getting along just fine, and you see it from your part of New Jersey. I see it where I am in Western Canada, and we both watch the boob tube. We're both guilty of it.
Yeah.
And we just see the sheer buffoonery of some of these individuals who get up there and present to the public. You can just see Rod Serling in the background holding a smoke going, damn.
Do you see that too?
Yeah. This is not submitted for your approval, like I'm a big Twilight Zone fan. I was when I was a kid, a big sci-fi fan.
Yeah,
like real good sci-fi. Yeah. Not this woke stuff that they keep putting down people's throats all the time.
Yeah. Oh man, it's truly incredible. I don't know. You just gotta hope for the best, right? You gotta keep pushing forward.
Hope the episodes get better, because this is really
it's live TV. And the next season of the White House. Joe Biden forgot his keys.
Oh shit.
2 hours later, still looking for the world's on fire, but he's looking for his keys.
Yeah. And he wants his rocky road.
Yep.
Come on, where's my rocky road?
Yeah. I mean, hey. I have highly believed that sometimes who you elect is just a reflection of our nation.
Yeah, that's a bit of reality too, because you think about, when I look at our prime minister, the majority of voters voted him in again.
Yeah.
Because of convenience and because of safety. Right. And this man has put us into debt. He's made us a laughing stock, not just politically, but socially too. A lot of my friends in Britain have weighed in and said things like, what is this man's problem? British conservative news has said a lot of terrible things. Russell Brand had an episode dedicated to him. And I like Russell because I like his comedy. It's quirky. And considering he was I think he was on heroin for a while in his life. So he was a recovering drug addict. So his perspective on life, the positivity this man emulates is excellent. And just the way he presented that quirky little video he did dissing Justin Trudeau, I was like, oh, this is hilarious. I love this. This is great. And even Bill Maher, I love Bill Maher's comedy. I like his show.
Yeah.
He says he was a libertarian. I guess he's classically liberal. It doesn't really faze me. But even he is starting to see the bullshit that's oozing from college campuses, from Hollywood, from Disney, from all the big sixes who talk about this and all this. And he's going, what the fuck? Like, really, And I've done it since I left the military. What the F? What's going on here? So that's what compels me to get out and speak about it, so people can think, oh, okay. Just like you said, oh, you remember that Crusty Canuck guy about a year ago? Oh yeah, remember he was saying this? Oh shit, okay, I see now. Or 6 months ago, or I was watching Joe Rogan, or I was watching Daniel Boardman. He's a Canadian independent guy up here. He's got some great stories. I encourage my listeners and viewers to go out and look at independent media.
Yeah, educate themselves.
Exactly. Make your own decision. Like I show you the encyclopedias I have here.
Yeah.
If I'm stumped on something, well, I got references. Like that's the way I was taught as a child. I go, Mom, what's this? Look it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Look it up.
And you know what's crazy? I think having books, it's and growing up, I fucking hated reading. But like,
yeah,
it's
you hate schoolwork.
Yeah, like it's you go online, and not everything is factual. Everything's based off opinion. Like everything is a fucking blog.
Yeah. And Wikipedia has been notorious for that too.
So like, go to, say I'm sorry to your libraries, and go to your local library and go pick up some fucking books and educate yourself.
Oh, exactly. It's just a matter of, just your own initiative.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm interested in dehydrating food. So I got Dehydrated Bible. I have a dehydrator here. I like dehydrating apples sometimes. Okay, I'll use that. And I learned from reading about it. I didn't have to go pay for a course.
Oh, you got to subscribe to this monthly.
Yeah, and then buy this T-shirt and buy this paraphernalia, and you get yourself your 30-second introduction to how to dehydrate an apple.
Yeah,
that's off to the business guy who put that together.
Yeah,
but it's like, no, I just want to dehydrate some fucking apples, man. I want to hear your life story.
This is what inspired me to create this course.
Exactly, and you too can dehydrate apples in record time. Ask your doctor if this dehydrator is good for you.
That's the most annoying. That has to be like the most annoying shit ever.
Oh, you see those in the feeds too, right? How to be a life coach.
Time.
Yeah. How to be a life coach.
Yeah.
Spatula City.
Yeah.
UHF, right?
Yeah. It's correct.
But you go to any local Walmart and you find, like, say, a book like this, How to Survive Off the Grid, How to Create Your Own Things, Dehydration Bible. Like say, I'm a gun enthusiast. I was taking some gunsmithing courses. So I've got myself a gun manual just to look, and okay. And that's the thing. We were taught metric.
It's super cool. Right? Yeah.
So it's like, okay, conversion, fractions. Oh, what's a fraction again? Huh? Oh, so you teach yourself things, but if you want something bad enough, you'll do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And that's up to the individual. Your parents can sit there all day and scold you and say, oh, you must go to college, you must go to university, you must do this. If you want bad enough, you'll do it. But when I look at post-secondary and things that were set up for us over centuries, I don't find post-secondary worth the while anymore. I encourage people to go and do your own thing. Like, okay, if you want a degree or diploma or a PhD, hey, go for it. But still keep that brain of yours open.
Yeah.
Right. Just keep it open. And let's say, look at different manuals, look at different encyclopedias, watch what you want on television, right? Because you want to, not because your parents tell you, or your wife tells you, your boyfriend or girlfriend, or your lover 10 times Tuesday removed, depending on relationships you're in, whatever. Do your thing, right? Simple rule though, don't hit people, take their stuff. Just live, breathe, touch, dance, drink, and be merry. Be alive. Be thankful. If you're not religious, that's good too. I'm not religious myself, but I've had many Christians in my life, and I've talked to many Christians. I've talked to Muslims. I've talked to Jewish, Buddhists, you name it. I find that the Sikh religion can be very peaceful too, a very loving, very open religion. But like I say, you just treat people like people.
Yes.
Forget the categories, forget the gender balances or the equities. Treat people like people. And then if you're dealing with someone that's snotty to you, okay, listen, they have to say. But if it's an echo chamber, then you either walk away. They throw an egg at you, and you throw a fist at them. Balance, right?
Oh man,
I'm not encouraging violence whatsoever, but yeah, you make my point, because everyone has their boiling point.
Yes.
The last time I got into a fight, I think it was about 7 years ago, and I was bouncing. So it was like, but it wasn't really a fight. It was a bit of a scuffle. He took a swing. He grazed my head, but I managed to get him down, and the RCMP took him away because they were on patrol that day. So, that's about it. And then in schoolyard fights and stuff when I was a kid, but that's rite of passage, man.
Yeah, everybody has to go through that.
Oh God, yeah, God, I had my ass handed to me when I was 10, but then I started handing out asses when I was 12. So
hey, same here. Same
balance,
here.
Right? It's all balance. Yeah. It's all balance.
You can't go and throw a punch without ever feeling a punch.
Yeah. Oh, Oh, I know. Trust me.
Because now you understand consequences.
Yeah.
You got to understand that, the weight that comes after that. And people just want to swing without having consequences. That's why, I think, majority of this world right now is so fucked up. Mm-hmm. Expectation versus reality is so different.
Mm-hmm.
You can't expect that like you said, you expect to be, if you treat somebody to be good, you expect the same.
Yeah. Well, just common courtesy,
And yet we lack that. We lack that.
Well, then it's up to us to encourage it. Yes.
And that's why we have created these platforms.
Yeah.
It's not another fucking niche podcast that uploads 5 episodes, 3 years later upload, 1.5. Like that's
how Netflix rolls. And I'm disappointed in Netflix for doing that. You get so used to a nice show and then only 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah.
I remember watching 22 episodes of my favorite series, and then to be off for 3 months, and then have a premiere again. Keep me interested.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah. Hey, that's how it works nowadays for some reason.
That's the thing, I'm a bit of a Yellowstone fan, so I'm looking forward to the next season. Do you watch Yellowstone?
No, that's what Kevin Costner. Wow, what's his name?
Kevin Costner. Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah, he's excellent. I just I think probably one of the best actors out there because he doesn't get political.
Yeah. Still from the like the Tom Cruise era, very old school, and still being consistent. I love that guy, man.
As far as he's still relevant and he's still very active in the his band. I never heard his music. I know he's country and western.
Yeah, so, I didn't know he did music.
Yeah, he does. There's a jamboree here in southern Alberta that he played at a few times.
Does he sing too? He sings?
As far as I know, he sings. Yeah, he's got a pretty good band.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check him out.
Yeah, well, it's his. I think his style. If I was when I listened to it, his style is kind of like Chris Christopherson, the very storytelling kind of style. So he's very rooted. And when you watch him play Dutton, you're thinking, "Holy shit, this guy's a real dick." But he does it well. He's a businessman. He's a rancher. He's got like an empire to look after.
Good for him.
And it's just a great series. Like I never got into Westerns as a kid. But I'd have to say this show is really cool.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm a big fan.
By all means, it's on Amazon as far as I know. It's still, I'll watch all for man. You got to binge watch it. So sit with your wife, get some beers. Oh yeah, Yellowstone is excellent series. And my wife and we just binge. We were just like, oh my god, it's got everything. It's got drama. It's got violence. It's got sex. It's got a lot of
music.
Music is Western themed, but when you look at all the characters and how they develop throughout the series, it's just really, I think it's just really well written. Hats off to Tyler Sheridan for writing such a great series.
Boom. Yes.
Creating such great characters, just it's not really, it has its politics, but it's not really political. It's just that watching the dynamic of these people grow and their backgrounds are just fantastic too. You can see why this guy's a prick. You can see why she's so soft and loving. You can just see it. Oh, okay. And then his other show, 1883, my wife and I, again, we watched that and just, wow, just really good.
I'm definitely.
I'm a
gonna check
Sam
it out,
Elliott
man.
fan too, so
Yeah.
it's you got to watch Sam Elliott, the big
Yeah,
mustache and everything. You got to watch him because he's funny as hell. I just like his style. So, but yeah, just really good TV shows, really good viewing. It's been a while since I've seen a real good show, so I'll leave it at that too. So that's my Western spiel. So.
Yes. Well, Crusty, it's been an honor speaking to you, man.
You too.
Thank you for taking out the time, and we talked about a lot. I definitely enjoyed this conversation.
So did I.
Very meaningful, life-changing. And let me know if I can come on your show. Schedule that out. Hit me up.
I have to get everything up. Well, you're on my Facebook page there too. But if your listeners and your fans want to get a hold of me,
yes,
I'll give you the description. But to the listeners out there, you can find my podcast at Crusty Canuck, all one word, small case, .podbean.com. And you can also find me on YouTube under the same name, Crusty Canuck. Just look for the guy with the maple leaf and the toque on, as you see here. And my videos are there too. You can also find me on Rumble. And you also find me on Brighteon as well too. I think I did have an account on Anchor. I haven't updated in a while. But you can find me on Podbean, YouTube, Brighteon, and Rumble. And I'm working on getting Amazon up and running as well too. I think I have a couple episodes on Amazon. I'm not sure, but the big three I mentioned are there. So please feel free to check me out there, whatever you like. I do talk a lot about Canadian politics, probably because I'm Canadian. I'm not sorry, but not sorry. And I haven't played a game of hockey in about 3 years, so I'm a little out of shape there, but it's all good. And the only time I have maple syrup is when I have a traditional pancake, or what you guys call flapjacks, but it's proper maple syrup from the Belle Province of Ontario and Quebec.
Boom.
Mic drop, right?
Go check him out. Go follow him. Go show him some love. Go support him. If you're Canadian or not Canadian, it doesn't matter. His content, it speaks volumes. I can't recommend it enough. Go check him out. Go follow him. Support him. I'm out, guys. Have a good night.